They take your money, dreams and hopes. Florida woman charged in adoption scam. Tallahassee, Florida. It's the nightmare adoption agencies and lawyers warn about. A person or couple spends thousands of dollars in legal fees and paying for the living expenses of a pregnant woman who is giving her baby up for adoption. It hurts and it's so painful, said Julie Zupin, a professional cellist who gave nearly $12,000 to Tallahassee resident Krista Toro while she supposedly was pregnant, only to discover 9 months later that there was no baby. They take your money. Toro, 44, has been charged with 1 count of organized scheme to defraud, a third-degree felony, and is out on $2,500 bond. Throughout Florida, people have preyed on the emotions and pocketbooks of couples and single people looking to adopt. State law requires that prospective adoptive parents hire a licensed, certified adoption agency or attorney if you are going to enter into a private adoption arrangement, said Madonna Finney, a Florida Bar Board certified adoption lawyer with 31 years of experience who sits on the board of the Florida Adoption Council. When you strike out on your own without the help of a professional, you are more vulnerable, Finney said. Legislators in 2003 made it a crime to intentionally benefit financially by deceiving people seeking to adopt me. It focuses on defrauding adoptive parents is a third-degree felony if the amount is more than $300. In addition, the victim can sue in civil court for damages, including the expenses paid in attorney fees and other costs incurred by the agency or prospective parent. After reviewing the police files, Assistant State Attorney Dan Bruno said the state has a solid case and will probably add grand theft and adoption deception to the charges against Toro. There. Also taken into account is Toro's lengthy criminal record. The Leon state attorneys are sometimes reluctant to charge perpetrators, said Stephen Price, an Orlando adoption lawyer and president of the Florida Adoption Council. The fact that Toro wasn't pregnant makes the crime all the more egregious, Price said. That even with the legislation in place, there is always a risk, he said. There. Zupin knew all this, but she trusted Toro because she had already gone through one adoption with her, using an adoption agency and adoption lawyers. Her criteria was, she made an agreement to move Toro and the child's father, Tommy Adams, from Orlando to Tallahassee, and paid for the pregnant woman's living expenses until she gave birth in April 2016 to Caleb, who was born addicted despite their agreement. 2 months later, Toro called Zupin out of the blue. She said she was pregnant again and would I like to adopt another baby, Zupin said. Of course she would. Caleb would have Zupin agreed to pay her $500 a week in living expenses during Toro's alleged pregnancy. Toro sent her a photo of a pregnancy test via text message in June 2016, and sent her an undated sonogram of a baby in December 2016. In July 2016, Toro and Adams were evicted from the townhouse where Zupin had moved them. As the due date approached, Zupin's lawyer tried to contact Toro without any luck. 4 days after the March 18, 2017, due date, Toro called to inform Zupin that the baby had been stillborn due to something called placenta previa, that the hospital would cremate the baby and she was released after 24 hours. A suspicious Zupin researched placenta previa and found that it doesn't cause stillbirths, nor does it occur with full-term babies. Also, police investigators interviewed the manager of the Woodspring Suites Hotel where Toro was living. She told Toro's sister also told investigators that her sister didn't appear pregnant as she was still smoking and going to the gym to work out. During her previous, a subpoena of bank records showed that Zupin had paid Toro $11,395 over the 9 months that Toro was supposedly pregnant. Further investigation of medical records showed Toro was not pregnant during the time she told Zupin she was with child. In the meantime, investigators discovered Toro had been in the Orange County Jail during the time of her alleged pregnancy. The Orange County records obtained from Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare showed Toro visited the hospital only once during the time frame of her supposed pregnancy, and that was an emergency transport to the hospital after she reported slipping and falling down some stairs. Investigators filed a probable cause affidavit and had a warrant issued July 12, 2017, but it took 2 years to track Toro down. Toro was arrested March 12 and charged with 1 count of organized scheme to fraud, swindling to obtain property under $20,000. She was released. Follow Jeffrey Schweers on Twitter at Jeff Schweers. This article originally appeared on Tallahassee Democrat.
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park, pot.